Hello, I am Endlessness and welcome back to Final Fantasy VII Ever Crisis, and in this video I'd like to give you a guide for Igara, Forbidden Zone Very Hard Crisis Dungeon. Igara is a water and ice dungeon, so we have two bosses weak to ice and the other two are weak to water, and Demon Masamune is the final boss of this dungeon and he is weak to both elements. And while Red Dragon and Iron Giant are two old bosses, Boomtuar is another returning event boss, and Demon Masamune with Whymsylvans are two new bosses we recently got in that latest First Soldier chapter. And keep in mind, Whymsylvans will debuff your physical attack, and most bosses are immune to attack and some defense debuffs, but I recommend bringing something to debuff Iron Giant's physical defense just to stun him, and it'll be useful especially if you are bringing physical water. And also, while physical attack is good for Iron Giants, magic attacks are effective for Boomtuar and Red Dragon, so it seems elemental magic might be a little bit better in this dungeon. This dungeon is a little bit bigger, but the dungeon map isn't very complicated, and here's our starting points, and Astral Giant is the first boss, and then you can choose between Whymsylvans and Boomtuar. And then there is Red Dragon on the far right, and Demon Masamune is in the far left corner. And we also have 3 rare items, 2 in 2 of those blue chests, and there is last rare item that is just a glowing orb next to that Red Dragon somewhere here in this area. And personally I think Iron Giant, because we have to, then Whymsylvans, Boomtuar and Red Dragon is a good route, and we can just claim all the chests on our way to the final boss. Since it's water and ice, we have some options for DPS. Tifa has both, and if you pulled on New Year's banner you could test how effective her new gear is. And since it's water, of course it's Glen time, and Sephiroth has both magic ice and water, or he can debuff water resistance with Tempest. Cloud also has water and ice, although he is definitely the weakest water DPS, but you could bring his Bahamut sword for AoE damage to deal with multiple enemies faster. And also, I think here Nanaki might be the best support because he can debuff water and ice resistance with his 2 colors, and he also has Orchid Materia slot for heals. And Aerith is another good option if you have Terra Rods, but then you'll need to bring some other weapon to debuff water resistance on another character, or sell it for Water Breach Materia. And Barret is a similar case, and you'll need ice resistance debuff somewhere else. And as for Matt, I think he is the worst support option for this dungeon, because healing and buffing is all he could do, which is so much less than other supports. But I'm using Cloud, Sephiroth and Aerith, and Cloud with Seph are my 2 DPS while Aerith is my support, and I only brought the necessary equipments and left other equipment slots empty to make this guide more accessible, but you should definitely equip your best weapons and materia. Aerith has Bahamut outfit, and any limit break or summon will be fine. Bahamut for heals, Terra to debuff ice resistance, Princess Guard, Triangle Sigil just in case, Breach for Iron Giant, and Asuna Fatigue is also as emergency because those Whymsylvans can inflict fatigue, and Aerith has no sub-weapons. Cloud has Bahamut outfit with Leviathan, Maritime Sword for water DPS, and Bahamut Sword for AoE damage and haste, Ultimate Buster, and Triangle Sigil Materia with Breach. And in sub-equipment slots, Cloud only has FF6 crossover weapon with HP. Sephiroth has Ice Arcanum outfit with Shiva, Edged Wings for Ice DPS and Tempest to debuff water resistance, Genji, Triangle Sigil and Breach Materia, and in sub-equipment slots Sephiroth has Eligor event weapon with HP. So there is no other option, we have to go for the Iron Giant. Iron Giant is a well-known boss, so hopefully you won't have many issues, but don't do anything, just wait until he buffs physical defense and start debuffing it. Even if you're using magic DPS, it doesn't matter, because as soon as you not completely nullify this buff, he becomes stunned. So now it's topple and stun, and you have a little bit more time to do DPS. So just wear resistance debuff and unleash your DPS, and Iron Giant shouldn't cause you any issues. And also we have 20% to water and ice damage in this dungeon, so that's also very nice. And now our first set of trans abilities, and the left and middle one, it depends on your team. If you have a full physical or magic team, choose one of these, but I'm going to go with the right one for physical defense buff. And just grab this chest, and now we'll go further into the map. And there'll be a random enemy. So yeah, it's our favorite worms, so just deal with them. But luckily they are just normal ants, so they will die pretty quickly. But now we're back to the map, and this feature of this dungeon is just to uncover the fog. But in this area here, in this spot, you have one of the chests, and there are a few more hidden. But let's go for the boss. And now the Owl Twins. With Cloud I'm just going for the Bahamut sword to give him haste, but debuff their water resistance and start doing DPS. And well, they are not really dangerous, but they are definitely tanky, and they can... oh, there it goes, the heal. Fine, one more. And the same thing with the left one, debuff that water resistance, and just try to kill him as quickly as possible. And sure, you could use Leviathan if you want to for a quick kill, and you don't have to worry because you'll get another summon back, or you could use the item, there'll be some summon charge. And now, I was just making sure I have full ADB on other characters for the next boss. Alright, our next set of trans abilities, and sure, Darkness and Limited Break Potency sounds great, but I'm not using it. Here, P attack and M attack up the buff tier sounds great, but I also don't have them, so I'm just going for the middle one. But if you have camera or other attack buffing weapons, that right one was definitely better. But here is the second item, so uncover the fog in next to this boulder, and here's the blue chest. And I'm just saving you the time of having to click manually on every part of the fog. So yeah, the Boomtuar, so just debuff ice resistance, and with Sephiroth or even Cloud start doing DPS, and of course you could use Shiva if you want to. Just for Demon Masamune, the final boss, you will definitely get it back, either by using ADB or with items, so don't worry about it. And just one more. Alright, next set of trans abilities, and here's a similar thing. You get water or ice potency buff, but the other gets debuffed, so I don't want either of these, so I'm just going with the right one. And here are 2 hidden chests. First in this area, it should be... no, in the next one here. It's a blue chest, so definitely grab it. And here's the second one. And yes, I took the time to uncover the whole map, so I'm just saving you that time so you don't have to waste it. But here's the last chest, and let's go for the red dragon. But actually, I'm going to use an item. I want to use ice potency, ice damage on Sephiroth to increase it. And the same thing, just debuff ice resistance. And I say that every time, don't be scared of using items in those very hard dungeons we get every month, because they might increase your score. You'll not lose anything, you might actually get a higher score while using them. But I'm not going to bother. And that's the last boss before the final boss of this dungeon. Alright, and our last set of transabilities, and to be honest, I don't think it matters. Just don't select the right one because summon potency has a big debuff, but here I won't be debuffing Masamune, so it doesn't matter. But here in this area is the last rare item, somewhere here. It's just a white orb. Alright, now let's go for the final boss. And I just had to double check the map if I didn't forget anything. Alright, now huge toads. I find them annoying. Well, luckily it's just normal enemies, but they are very tanky. So if you want to use your summons, Leviathan, I could totally understand. Because they debuff your physical attack, so definitely magic DPS benefit here. But at least with Bahamut's sword you can cheat. And I am also going to use items, because I want to buff Sephiroth's ice damage and Cloud's water damage, because I want to nuke the boss. But if you need to use any other items, feel free to do so. Don't be scared of using items here. I don't know, I'll try, maybe? No, never mind, I'm not risking it. I thought I could debuff water resistance here, but I'm afraid he would buff himself, his water and ice resistances fully, so I would do no damage until I would debuff them. But yeah, just nuke the boss. And with those buffs from the items, you will hit even harder, so that should also hopefully not be an issue. But yeah, I would say don't be scared of using items, because you want to go through those dungeon bosses as quickly as possible, and those items can allow you to do that. But yeah, that would be the whole dungeon. And yes, I came with a much weaker team because I debuffed myself and used items, and I still got a higher score than what I did on my first clear. So yeah, you can see using items doesn't hurt you at all. But yeah, I hope you found my guide helpful. And thank you very much for watching, and I hope to see you next one.